year in review may sound like a little bit of a cliche coming towards the end of the year, but I actually think that this provides a really logical and useful place to start to take stock of where we've been and to connect to our future self. And there's a lot of an excitement around New Year that I feel like we should tap into more throughout the rest of our lives. And my kind of main message and takeaway from this year has been largely positive. I don't think it's that great to dwell on the negatives, no matter what they have been. And my message to you in how to do that is to trust the inspiration, the hope, and the tiny moments of, oh wow, that you've had, that you're having, and that you're going to have. The beauty of this year has been in the small moments. And the magic of the small moments, I think, is something that is super important to feel and take forwards with you into your next year. So these are my big lessons and takeaways from this year. And I've picked them because they are messages that I've really had to live into, obviously with the upheaval and uncertainty that we've all experienced. So grab yourself a pen and paper, because I'd really like you to connect to the sentiment, the feeling behind these things that I am going to say. Okay, so this is my big takeaway message number 1: curiosity and compassion. And curiosity is because our normal way of living for a lot of us has been completely disrupted this year, which means we've been grappling to try and find this new normal. And that can feel very disorientating, and it can also be a way to start beating yourself up around the head with a stick because you're trying and you feel like you're failing. And so I think a really useful prompt this year has been, what's working for me and what isn't? Whilst I craft this new normal of working from home or having to switch careers or having disruption to finances, rather than judge yourself for finding this difficult, for having a day where things just don't really work, or maybe the entire year things don't really work, just using this as a prompt to say, well, what did I learn? Did this work for me or did this not work for me in terms of how I crafted my morning, my day, my week? And if we bring this curiosity, it starts to remove the judgment. You don't have to dive down the rabbit hole of self-criticism. You can just say, oh, that's interesting. Having my breakfast at 11 a.m. and not getting out of pajamas did or didn't suit me. And then as part of the curiosity, I think that goes hand in hand with compassion. And I feel so much in my heart that this is something that starts within you. So compassion starts with self-compassion. So learning that actually you can be patient with yourself. You can let yourself be unproductive. You can let yourself have rest. And this compassion is so necessary in a world of uncertainty. Things are difficult enough without you making it more difficult yourself by holding yourself up to these expectations that are unhelpful. And where did they come from? If they didn't come from the heart of you, then maybe cast them aside. So lesson 1 is curiosity and compassion, and that starts with you. Okay, so big idea number 2 is change is the only certain thing. And yes, that might sound obvious, but I'm kind of looking at it in the broader sense that our bodies, our friends, our finances, our situation, our jobs, our mindset, our grief, and our growth, they are all going to change. And so tying yourself into certain goals of you want your life to look a certain way, you want your body to look a certain way, you're like trying to hit a moving target, because all of that is constantly growing and evolving anyway. So rather than thinking that I'm trying to get myself to look like this or get my life to look like this, accept that change is going to happen anyway, and that actually change is crafting that next step for you. You don't have to force it. You don't have to push and hustle and grind. That change will unfold anyway. And therefore that evolution of mind, body and self is going to happen anyway when you lean into it. Okay, so I hope that these first 2 have been pretty sort of impactful messages. Some of them might sound obvious, but as we said, at the end of the year, take stock, take note, and start to feel and connect into those sentiments behind them. And before I tell you my next 4, I'd like you to head down to the description section. So there you'll find a link, and I would love you to click on that link and pop in a name and an email address, because I have things that I think you need, and I'm going to send you them for free. I have a free getting started guide, and as a bonus I will also send you my 7-part video course called the Getting Started Plan. And so that's if you want to, or you're struggling with changing your nutrition, getting fitter, feeling healthier and more confident in your mind and body as well. So bob down to the description section, click on the link there, and I could be landing in your inbox in just a few minutes. Okay, so my next big lesson from my year in review, this is number 3, is that fear is not scary. We've all faced some fears this year. And those fears tend to fall into 3 categories. So there's fear of loss. Like, to put it really simply, that might mean that changing your nutrition, you feel the loss of, or at least feeling like you have to give up chocolate. The loss might be that you've moved house, you've moved country, and you're no longer in the same place as your friends, and you're grieving the loss of those friends, being close to them. The second one is fear of the process. So this is going to be hard. I don't want to have to sit through this discomfort of this journey. And the final one is fear of the outcome. Like, what happens if I get that promotion, or life goes back to normal and actually I'm not happy with what that reality is for me. And this fear, we've all overcome it this year, whether we've liked to or not. Like, if we are sitting here and breathing, then you have survived. You have got through this year. You have overcome whatever fears that you had about going through this year. And that should spark hope, because you can do hard stuff. That's what this year has shown you. You are more capable than you think. You have more strengths than you think. And therefore, going forwards into 2021, like, how can you use that? You can do hard things. Yeah, you're going to use that self-belief and direct it forwards into next year. Okay, this is lesson number 4. Knowing yourself matters. And I don't mean like things like, I like yoga and I don't like spin classes. That is genuinely quite true at the moment for me, but that's not what I mean by knowing yourself. Knowing yourself means like, what is in your heart, in your mind, in your body and your soul that makes them sing and dance and feel joyful and alive. Because when you connect to those things, and you get this perspective of who you are right inside of you, then it opens up so much into your life. It opens up authenticity. It opens up true connection. It opens up purpose. It opens up permission in your life and complete freedom. And without truly knowing yourself, you're possibly connecting with other people and energy and opportunities in your life in ways that don't necessarily serve you long term with who you are. So getting to know yourself, like, if you've literally survived this year and distracted your way through it, that is also okay. You are not left behind. This journey of self-discovery is never ending for us anyway. So start yesterday, start today, start tomorrow, but you can start to connect with who you are. Like, something for me that sparks that joy is when no one's watching, have a really stupid dance around the kitchen, the studio, wherever it is. And that is part of me expressing myself and letting go. And that is one aspect of me getting to know myself, because I'm kind of unencumbered in that moment of how I'm moving my body, what it looks like, what other people are thinking of me. And so that's a way for me of connecting to my true self. My yoga practice and meditation is another way. And my question to you is, what serves that purpose for you? What allows you to connect to your true self, where you get lost in time and you lose yourself and you learn as you go through that process? Okay, and my next one, this is lesson number 5, health matters. Oh my goodness, we have not been able to take this for granted this year at all, have we? And whether that is our own health or the health of our friends or families, I feel that it has really raised in necessity for all of us this year, because we realise that actually when we don't have health, then what do we have? And therefore I'd urge you, if you haven't already, to raise the necessity of your health in your own life. And I like to sum this up by taking your MEDS, MEDS. So MED stands for movement, it stands for diet, it stands for silence, and it stands for exercise. And I feel like I've got that wrong. I'll clarify in the comments below. I said movement and exercise twice. So take your meds, that should be your priority list. So if you're not yet feeling vibrantly healthy, then move, sweat, play, dance, lift heavy stuff, go for a walk. But do something to protect your mental, spiritual, social, relational health. Because I think this year it has really shown that if we don't have that, then we don't have anything. And then finally, lesson 6 is show up. Show up. And showing up, I don't mean like the hustle, the grind, the getting stuff done and being productive. Like some of these days this year, it might have been get out of bed, have a shower and put some food in your mouth. That's showing up. Absolutely. And I think showing up, we underestimate it, because if you don't show up, nothing else can happen. Literally nothing else can happen until you are there and in the game. So this coming year, if you're wanting to progress your career, kickstart your health and fitness, like deepen connection with your friends and your family, it starts with showing up. And those small changes plus consistency, they lead to remarkable results. Like for this year, showing up, getting out of bed, feeding yourself and washing yourself, that has added up to you surviving an incredibly difficult year. So do not underestimate those small changes. They maybe felt small or hard in the moment, but they've got you this far. So apply that lesson into next year. Do those small changes, make those small wins, build confidence, build momentum, and showing up is the most important thing that you can do. It has been an honour to serve you this year, and I can't wait to see what next year will bring. Head over to my next video and let's keep learning together.